Welcome to this third session of Sri Hanuman Chalisa. We start with the gratitude towards the Lord, without whose grace nothing is possible. I pay my deep respects to our Guruji, Guruma, and I must say that I am still a learner on this path. So whatever I am sharing with you is whatever I have understood, whatever I have learned. We start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishamahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this has been taken by this book by Sri Pawan Kumar Mishra called The Living Hanuman, which is a journey from the selfie to the self. The structure of Sri Hanuman Chalisa consists of the first two dohas, which gives us the purpose of the Hanuman Chalisa. The first 8 verses tells us about the qualities of Sri Hanuman. Today we will be talking the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th verses in this session 3. The 9th to the 11th verses talks about the deeds of Sri Hanuman. The 12th to the 15th about the praises of Sri Ram showered on Sri Hanuman. The 16th to 21st is the ascent of the Kundalini and the other deeds. The 22 to 39 the benefits of the worshipping Sri Hanuman, and the final verse and the final doha on the boon that Sri Hanuman resides in the devotee's heart, or the Aikya. So let's start with the 5th verse of the Chaupai. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा बिराजे कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजे. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे. So Vajra is the weapon. Vajra is the weapon, and we know that Hanuman's weapon on the right hand, he holds the Gada always. So that is his weapon. And on the other hand, he holds a flag. Flag stands for victory or success. Because whenever a king invades another kingdom and he wins over it, he will unfurl his own flag. So that stands for victory. It's a pratik, or denotes victory. Kande munja janei usaje. So kande means on the shoulders. Munja is the grass from which a pious string, or janoi, janeu is janoi, rest on the shoulders of Sri Hanumana. Hatha vajra or dwaja biraje. So Gada is a significance of, it's a very hard, so it's like a firm resolute decision-making skill of Sri Hanumana. It also shows the positive attitude of Sri Hanumana. Whenever there are several instances where Rama Lakshman were in the Nagpasha during the Lanka war, he went and got Garudji to get them released from the Nagpasha. Also when Lakshmanji was hit by an arrow, he got the Sanjeevani Jadibuti. So all these were his great positive attitudes. Hanumanji is always focused on the solutions. He is not focused on problems. That is one great learning that we can have from Sri Hanumanji's life. His speech is also a weapon, because in today's world, we don't use weapons, but we use speech is the biggest weapon. And Hanuman has a very clear, pleasant and honest speaker. Spashta Vakta, whatever he wants, he will speak very clearly, and that is very important. Dwaja stands for victory, that stands for awareness, our efforts, without any ego, because Hanumanji is completely surrendered to Rama, to the Lord. And he is also, as a Dwaja, he is also called the Kapit Dwaja. And in the first Adhyaya on the 20th Shloka, there is this word Kapit Dwaja, because Hanumana is also riding on the chariot of Arjuna, and he protects Arjuna, not only protects Arjuna during the Mahabharata war, but he ensures victory for Arjuna. So that in that way he is called Kapit Dwaja. And Mahabharata also denotes that life is a battle, because Mahabharata was on a battlefield, the Lord Krishna's Gita Updesh was on a battlefield. All this suggests that our life itself is a battle, not just outside, but even inside. Inside there is a lot of yuddha going on, battle going on between all our good desires, the bad desires, our good qualities, the bad qualities, the Daivi Sampatti, the Asuri Sampatti, all these are always at a war. So victory in a war this chariot which is depicts the Hanumana, where on an individual basis this chariot denotes that these horses, they are like the senses. They are always going out bahirmukha towards the Vishaya. Vishaya are the objects of these senses. So the horse always goes towards, unless you cultivate them. So these senses need to be controlled. And how can we control these senses? It can only be controlled by mind, mana. So mind is the one which controls these senses, right? Now, how can you control the mind? The mind also has to be controlled. It is controlled by the buddhi. So mind is controlled by the buddhi. The lagam is the buddhi, right? Buddhi is the purified intellect through that directs all this action in the mind. And then how do we control this buddhi? That is controlled by the soul, or the traveler who travels through our life, or our atma, or the atma bal, that self, our self consciousness, which gives us that strength or the resolve. So through this we can control everything. All this right effort, the chariot denotes the body that lives in the dice, and this chariot, that's how denotes how we can control our own self. So Vajra also stands for to give. So for example, Vajra, another meaning of the word Vajra is diamond. And diamond engagement rings are to be given on engagement or wedding, means that you are submitting, you are giving your life to the other person or your partner. Right? It's a very hard. Indra created a weapon out of the spinal column of a white sage called sage Dadichi, who accepts his offer. Indra goes to him, says that he needs a very big weapon to destroy the asuras, and Dadichi very accepts his offer unconditionally and donates his body to create a Vajra, which is a weapon which was given to Hanumana, and that's how Hanumana got this body also as a weapon. And for the larger good, Sage Dadiji, he donates his entire body. So this Vajra is also denotes an organ donation. And today, even after the brain death occurs, one can donate a lot of organs like liver, kidneys, lungs, heart. All this can be donated where there is a brain is dead and the heart is beating. Kandhe munj janev ojasaje. So that shows janev is a sacred thread which is made from the munj grass. Jana means birth. So jana comes from the word jana, and the brahmana who wear this janoi, they are called dvija, because with the janoi sanskara ceremony which happens in their childhood, it is called the dvij ceremony. It means that they are born again. It's a second birth, and here they are initiated on a spiritual path. So the first birth is the birth itself. The second birth is their initiation on this path. And this is called the Upanayana Sanskara. Upanayana means the third eye. And this third eye denotes the eye of vision or the wisdom through which they can see the world in a very different way. So that is the meaning of these words. The spiritual energy is what they need to, which helps them to see this world differently. And even in other traditions like Christian, Zoroastrian, there is an initiation path. In many other traditions, this path is there. And this Janava is carried on the shoulder, and it stands for their firm commitment, because this munj grass is also a very strong grass, and that's why it's strong. It calls for a firm and a strong commitment for their personal life to live it ethically and to reach to their ultimate goal, which is the moksha or the mukti, and the social responsibility to contribute and to serve the society at large. So these are the two responsibilities which have to be fulfilled. And Janoi is worn by Brahmins, and Brahmins, they denote the Sattva Guna, because they are pratisthit in a Sattva Guna. And in Lord Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita, Nitya Sattvasta Bhava, Nitya Sattvasto Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna, that is his message. And the Sattvic qualities that Brahmins have is simplicity, purity, Sanyama. Sanyama is control over their mind, senses, their all their body, knowledge, forgiveness, and faith. So all these are good qualities, the Sattvic qualities, which we all should try to aspire to get, to acquire. And munj grass is a very strong grass, resilient, so the responsibility also should be very strong. This kind of threads for commitment are worn apart from Janoi as Rakhi, when a sister ties it to a brother, and Mangal Sutra when a husband during the marriage dies on the wife. So these are all threats for commitment. Till when will this commitment last? Till the last breath. We have to keep walking, charaiveti, and dhire, the change also comes very slowly. Shanaihi uparamet. Sankar Suvana Kesari Nandana Teja Pratapa Mahajagabandana. So in this shloka says Sankara Suvana is the son of Shiva, or the Mohini avatar, through which the seeds of Shiva were transferred through the Pavana, the Lord of the Wind, to Anjana, or the Anjana, who is the mother of Hanumana. And they were then Kesari Nandana. Kesari is the king of Vanara, who is, along with Anjana, conceives Sri Hanumana, and Sri Hanumana is born. His glory is illuminating. Teja Pratapa means his glory is illuminating. And Mahajagabandhana means the great world bows to him. He is praised by one and all because of his great qualities that Hanumana has. So there are several names of Sri Hanumana. He is incarnate of the Shiv, the 11th Rudra. But it also says that here it is said that he is a son of Shiva. But some people say Shankara Swayama, that is, he is a true incarnate of the Shiva. Shiva is the cosmic consciousness. So Pavanaputra is one name where he represents the cosmic life force, the breath, and individually as a breath. Kesari Nandan, Kesari is the king of Vanara. He is the son of the king of Vanara, and he is manifested as the bliss form of the Brahma. Anjani Putra, Anjani is the mother. She is a creative potential. She's a demon queen, but she's a Vanara queen. Was born as a demon, but now she is a Vanara queen. Creative potential, and the divine conception of Sri Hanumana, such happens accordingly. Teja Pratapa Mahajagabandhana. So Hanuman also represents the Antakarana, the cosmic mind, the intellect, and the ego, as a Mahat-tattva. Mahat-tattva is the Avyakta form which happens in the creation of the universe. So this is the Mahat-tattva where Sri Hanumana Teja Pratapa Mahajagabandhana. So Hanumanji represents the cosmic mind, intellect, and the ego, and as Mahat Tattva, he represents the egolessness, the surrender to the Lord Rama. Mahat Tattva is that Tattva which is in between the creation of the universe and is dedicated in the service of the Lord. As a Kesari word also means lion, which represents courage and valor, which Hanuman represents, great courage. And Kesari also represents bliss, which is expressed outside as love and compassion. Vidyavan guni ati chatur Ram kaj karibe ko atur. So in this 7th shloka says Vidyavana, the knowledgeable, somebody who has gained this knowledge through the Sri Vidya tradition. Guni means values. There's lots of guna. And Ati Chatura is very clever, devoted to the Lord Rama. Tulsidasa says that one who is very clever. The person who is very clever is somebody who has devoted himself to Lord Rama. And Atura means very eager. He's always eager, full of enthusiasm, because he works out of joy. And he also works to get joy of Sri Rama. So for that matter, these are the 4 beautiful qualities of Sri Hanumana: Vidyavana, Guni, Ati Chatura, and Atura. And for success, all 4 are necessary. Whether that success is in the workplace, where you need the domain knowledge, the skill sets, the street smartness, and the go-getter attitude, all these 4 are essential in the workplace success. Or it's a spiritual success where we need the Vidya, the knowledge, the Daivi Sampatti, the Guna, discriminative intellect, Chaturya, and enthusiasm, the Aturta. So all these are important. All these 4 qualities are important, whether we are in the workplace or in the worldly place, or whether we are in a spiritual dimension. So Vidyavan, knowledge. So Vidwan is one word where person has only knowledge or intelligence, information, but that knowledge is not put in action. Whereas Vidyavan is where the knowledge is placed in action. So one becomes a living example. We may have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, but unless we can put it in our action, in our daily living, we can become an example For the great men, their life itself is an example. So they don't have to preach. They don't have to preach. Their life itself, like Mahatma Gandhi, his life itself was an example. Similarly, Atur, always eager and enthusiastic. And it's like it says, it's like an arrow of Sri Rama, where it will go, once it is released, it will go, it will Lakshya Bedan karke, it will come back. It will not come back without materializing the purpose. So he is so eager and is so enthusiastic that whatever work he takes up, he promised Ram that he will go to Himalayas, right from Lanka to Himalayas, get the Jadibuti, Sanjeevani, and then come back before the sunrise happens the next day. So he had very little time, but he says that I will not show you my face unless I do this. So that's how, he is so atur, enthusiastic. He will always realize his goal and his potential. So for him, for Hanuman, nothing is impossible. Asambhav as a word is not in his dictionary. Nothing is impossible. That is his outlook. That is his attitude. So we should learn to try to get this attitude for us, that whatever are big feats that we want to achieve, large feats, big projects, big purposes we want to achieve in life, we can think like a Hanuman and try and achieve them by careful planning and effective implementation. Ramakaja Karibe. Ramakaja means mission. What is the mission of Lord Rama? And Hanuman's mission is only to fulfill the Lord Rama's mission. That is his only mission. So Lord Rama's mission, what is this? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, what is the mission of an avatar form? Avatar form, Rama is also an avatar form. It's an incarnate form of the Lord Vishnu. So he says, Dharma Sansthapanarthaya and Dushto Sanhara and Daivi Sampatti, to get, so Dushta demons or the Asuras, to kill them, the Adharma people, and to Sansthapanarthaya, Dharma Sansthapanarthaya. That is the mission of the avatar form. Yada yada hi dharmasya dilanir bhavati bharata. And then in the next shloka in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that Dushtana Sanhar is the main purpose of their incarnate. So similarly, people like Mother Teresa, those who have a dual goal of service to humanity and service to God, when they say that it's two sides of the same coin, they are also living this purpose. So love and compassion is something that we can give to all who come in our contact, and that is our responsibility, and we should try and strive and attain that, to give this inner bliss we can share with all outside us. So in this Srushti Chakra, this cosmic wheel which is going on, we should live with harmony, not by our individual likes and dislikes or raga dvesha, but to do whatever we can best contribute in this world as a duty, our duty, and our yagna buddhi. So this is a very beautiful statement. We are not human beings having spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings who are having a human experience, right? So that is how we are, and that is how we should live in this world. So we should try and help, service, donate in wildlife, society, climate, because this is all the mission of Lord Rama, Mother Earth, to restore mission of Sri Hanumana, to restore Mother Earth to its eternal place. Prabhu Charitra Sunibe Ko Rasiya, Rama Lakhan Sita Man Basiya. So this shloka says Prabhu Charitra. So Sri Rama's life, his avatar Leela, Sunibe Ko Rasiya. Hanuman enjoys to listen to this, and he enjoys doing this. Rasiya means he's enjoying listening this stories of Sri Rama, his avatar Leela. Rama Lakhana Sita Manabasya. Rama is a universal consciousness. Lakhana is a self-propelled purpose destined for success, or the Jivatma. Sita is the Mother Earth, or the creation, or the nature, with all its living beings. So all this, they are and Hanuman stands here for the seeker self. So Manabasya means all these three things, they live in the mind of Hanuman. Or retrospectively we can say that Hanuman lives in the mind of all these three. So that is how what is the meaning of this verse. So rasa, or that intense enjoyment or ecstasy in any act, that is the rasa. It's a complete engagement with awareness, which is also very important in living life or the joy of living. Because it should not be that on a spiritual path and a knowledge path one becomes so, dry that there is no rasa of the life. But Lord himself says that rasa is the essence of the existence. And as the Lord, one of the names of the Lord is called Raseshwara, because he is the Ishwara of all the rasa, or all the enjoyment, or all the engagement, or the joy of this world. Similarly, Bharata, Bhav, Raga and Tala. It's a balance of devotion and meditation. So Bharatanatyam is a dance form which has a lot of emotions in music, in we all Raga, Tala. So there is a lot of balance which can actually lead us to devotion and meditation. So these rasas are also very important in life, and this bhava, emotions, this bhinash, it creates a moisture of life, and it comes out best in the bhakti form or the devotion form of the tradition, where people actually talk to the Lord, they actually feel that they are living with the Lord. They make them feed every day, they make them sleep every day, they make them wake up every day, they dress them up every day. It's a beautiful tradition, the devotion tradition or the bhakti parampara of the Indian tradition. Similarly, sangeet, classical music, nritya or the dance can also be a meditation and can also be this rasa which we can have in our daily life. So this art of humanity is an essential part of our life. It is very important. It could be literature, it could be painting, it could be anything, it could be performing art, it could be any form of art or humanity is very, very essential. Sunibe means listening, and sunana also means mind has to be quiet from inside for better listening skills. And for this we can create an aware mind. But the gross mind is without awareness, where it does not listen, it just hears. And Hanuman himself manifests or is an eternal bhakta. Bhakta is a devotee. He is one of the best devotees that you can see. And there is this Navada Bhakti which is propounded in the Bhagavad Gita. There is a 9th form of Bhakti which Lord Krishna talks about. And this Navada Bhakti, all the qualities Hanumanji espouses. The first is Shravanam, listening to the Leela or the deeds of the Lord. Second is Kirtanam, singing devotional songs for the Lord. Third is Smaranam. Nam Smaranam means to remember Lord always, all the time, whenever you are in action, all throughout the day, all throughout, whenever you are action, whenever you get some karma phala. Pada Sevanam, service of the Lord's feet. Archanam, worship with flower, mala, shringar. Vandanam, doing prayers and arti for the Lord. Dasya Bhakti, to be like a servant to the Lord. And Sakhya Bhav, as a friend of the Lord, talking to him. So these are all and finally Atma Nivedanam, total surrender to the Lord. So these are all the 9 forms of bhakti, Navada Bhakti, which we may be having some form, we may be doing some form in some way, but somebody who is Purna, complete in this, is Hanumana, is all the 9 forms of bhakti. Rama Lakhana Sita Mana Basiya means Hanuman lives in the mind of Rama, Sita and Lakhana, or you can say Rama, Sita and Lakhana lives in the mind of Hanumana. They all live each moment mindfully, and this also shows us the final message of the Vedanta. Everything is one. There is no discrimination. Maya is a Bhranti. It's an illusion which is created. But if you see from the consciousness point of view, Jiva, Jagat and Ishwar, beyond this, the consciousness is the universal or the same consciousness. And this shows the final message of the Upanishada Mahavakya of the Aikya, that all is one. Sunibe Mana Basya also shows Sunibe means listening, and listening can also be done in silence, just like Dakshinamurti Stotra was taught by Dakshinamurti Bhagwan to his first set of disciples in silence. So Sunibe means Shravana, which is very important, Vedanta Vakya from Guru Mukha, and Shastra Vakya. Shravanam is the first step towards this knowledge path. The second is Mananam or contemplation. The third, Mana Sunibe Mana Basya, is Nididhyasana or meditation. It's also very important. And sitting in silence, only with this we can listen to this humming of the universal sound, and with this we can feel the oneness of ourselves along with the universal consciousness. So that is the final goal of our individual existence. or our life. Thank you very much.